In today's video, we talk about body fat in the off season. What's going on, guys? This is Revelia from ProPhysique.com, and today I have with me no other than Laurin, IFB, Bikini Pro, and all-around badass. So today's video, we are going to go over a topic that is, I think, probably not that discussed, and it's, as a coach, a question we get quite frequently, and it's just how much body fat should you have, or how lean should you try to stay in the off season? Or if you're Doug Miller, the improvement season, the gain season, the time basically between your competitions. And there's a couple different ways to take this, but we'll start with Laurin's situation because she competes at a more higher frequency than I do. So she ended her season last year in the fall, and she's going to be competing this year in likely the spring, right?
Summer.
Maybe summer?
Yeah.
So we're talking, 6 months for her to optimize. Let's get into what your kind of goal is for body composition during the period between competitions.
So I think that, as usual, there's no straightforward answer.
No.
I wish I could give a more straightforward answers. I actually just had someone emailing me about this, and I'm like, I really can't give you like numbers because,
Right.
So it really depends on where you're at that point. Last year, I had a very significant off season because I had several previous seasons of competing that I needed time off from. So I took a full off season, let my body do whatever the hell it wanted, and then I gave it enough time to prep. I dieted for 29 weeks total for the show. My first show though was at 22 weeks. So I pretty much, and then I just kind of maintained that, made improvements, but pretty much maintained that the whole time. So I had a pretty long bikini girl prep. Most people do like 10 weeks or 12 weeks, whatever the hell that is. That's not for me. I don't think that's for most people. But so I only dieted for that long and lost that much weight because because of the previous year. So my goal is to not get back to that in order to come back all the way down. But I do think that unless you are someone who is exactly where they want to be, right? If you're pretty much at your physique that you want to compete at.
As far as enough lean body mass?
Yeah, enough lean body mass, like the proper shape. Like obviously there's always tweaks, but there's some people who are just like, this is my body and I just want to keep competing.
Yeah.
Then I don't really think that you can kind of maintain that better. For me, I'm not at that place. I want to still add, density to my shoulders and my hamstrings and my glutes. I mean, of course, everyone's always trying to do that, but I feel I need room to grow and taking improvements. And of course, the only way to do that is with calories and time and just, being in the gym and training hard. So my goal is to not get too heavy, but not also try to stay stage lean, because that's
let me ask you this, because you are a scientist, you have actually studied a lot of people's body fat. So let's just give a rough estimate for because we did my body fat when I was 211 and I think it was 8% or something like that. Like I have a video on YouTube where we actually did it, me and Lane went into your lab. What would you estimate your happy place is for body fat wise, for putting on muscle and yet still feeling like you can wear clothes and be a happy person?
Yeah, so again, the number is kind of hard to say because every single body fat measurement is very, very different. Right. I have people send me stuff, I just got my thing done, it's 20%. I'm looking at them and then I know that if they were to do a different test, it wouldn't be 20%, and then, vice versa. So, again, don't really give that number.
This is with a caveat.
This is the caveat of
if you get nothing from this video, just give an estimate.
I'll do it again. My measurements on our machine, the one that I always talk about, I started my prep last year at 157 at, I believe, like 17.5% body fat. 17 or so.
Beefcake.
Yeah, beefcake mode. Again, but that's the ultrasound can tend to be lower than maybe like a whole body measurement.
Okay.
Like if you're getting a DEXA or a BIA, or you stand on that scale or whatever
Okay, so
that you have.
157, 17.5%.
Yeah.
What did you end prep at weight-wise?
Well, I didn't do it at the very end, but it was pretty much the same.
Well, within a couple weeks.
Yeah, I ended between 128 to 130 was my weight.
So almost 30 pounds lost.
Almost 30 pounds.
What was the body fat measurement?
Body fat was, I think, 9.5. So
Okay. So now, without giving too much away, I'm not worried about your weight.
yeah, no, I'll tell you. I don't care.
You seem to be in a great place mentally. Like when I see you, you're training hard. A lot better than you were the last off season when every week was kind of a catastrophe. You were always like dealing with a dilemma.
Yeah, like my body.
Where do you
was,
think
like,
your body fat is now? If you just had to give it a number,
I'm probably somewhere in the middle, I'd say.
like 14, 15.
Yeah, I'd probably say like 13, 14 on our
Okay.
measurement. Again, I know plenty of people who are watching this going, oh my god, I'm 25% on my scale, and that is not the same measurement at all. The 7-site test on an ultrasound is going to be far different than a whole body measurement, so just caveat.
Yeah.
But again, so reference point, I started somewhere, I ended somewhere. Right now, I'm probably somewhere in the middle of that.
Yeah.
I started.
So you know what? That's actually a fair idea. So for those of you that have competed before, you obviously know where you started. You know where you finished. You probably don't like where you started. You probably couldn't maintain where you finished because that's below your set point.
Not even have a conversation.
So maybe shooting for somewhere in the middle is a good idea.
Yes.
And I think I can relate because I did something similar. I was walking around at like 240, decided 2 years ago that I was going to diet down, actually did a show together with you and got down there, and when the show was over, I didn't feel like necessarily like I needed to like balloon back up, and I kind of maintained a lower body fat, percentage, and I feel like I'm kind of doing the same thing. I'm like right in the middle in the low 220s instead of going back up to 240 again.
Yeah, I just weighed myself this morning. I was 140, so again, for me, it all correlates to body fat percentages. For me at least, but whenever I'm dieting, there's certain like levels of body fat and body weight that when I get below, it's just really like unsustainable. Once I get below 135, that's when my abs start popping, that's when everything starts looking good. Yeah. But that's also to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm really stressed out all the time because
You'll have
I
a
can't.
bad day here and there, low energy.
And that's kind of, remember when the physique I brought to the Olympia?
Yes.
That's the physique that everyone starts to say, oh my god, you're dieting, like when'd you show you look so great? Yeah. That's when I start to feel like I can't function. Yeah. And that's about 135 or so for me. So a few pounds above that, I'd say between like 135 and 145 are kind of like that happy range for me of not...
closer to the on your test level, the 10%, 11% range probably is when you start to feel that.
Yeah, I would say probably, like that on mine, like 11.5 or so. It's just like not.
So
happy.
when you body fat tested me and I tested at, I want to say it was 8.5% or something like that. That was when I was 211. I was feeling good most days, but then I would definitely.
Were you lower than that?
I want to say it was
certain areas?
8%. Yeah, it was.
So the thing about like body fat testing when it's like in certain spots is that like guys, like their triceps always have nothing. Girls usually have a lot there, and then there's certain sites that can throw it off. So like I know like a lot of guys hold more weight like here.
Mine is all lower back. Yeah, that's where it all was at that time. I still had really good striations in my obliques and stuff. So that's when I was actually starting to feel like normal again. But it wasn't probably until I was about 215 and probably closer to 10%. So I think for me, 10-11% is when I feel good, but I still don't feel strong. The leverages of the body fat allows you the inflammation, all the things that are kind of elevated when you're at a low body fat percentage. You don't recover as quickly. Meal timing is much more important, I feel like, when you're very lean. Like, with a little extra body fat, you can go a while without eating and not want to rip people's heads off.
Yeah, it's really nice.
When you're really lean, if you are 5 seconds late on a meal, you get hangry.
You're just gonna die.
You want to kill people. So what's a good body fat percentage for you in the off season? Well, we can't give you an exact number as we've discussed, but I feel like it's a place where as your body fat starts to come up, you start to realize like, I'm having good days here. Yeah. I'm having a good day every day. I don't feel like I need to stuff my face every 5 seconds. Yeah. And you get into a place where strength is coming up. And of course, you're not going to be as lean as you were for stage, but you still feel like you get some looks. I know for myself, my limbs stay pretty lean. Basically from my upper thigh to my lower chest. That's kind of where the body fat kind of resides, and my arms and legs will stay leaner. Mm-hmm. So people will still think I'm pretty lean, even though I'm like, haha, fooled you, chunky monkey. that's kind of my happy place, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like I could stay here and be happy and feel like I look like I live.
And you can still progress, which is important.
Yes,
because
and I enjoy the gym.
The hardest part about if you try to stay too lean, which a lot of girls do, is that you're just not really going to make improvements. You know, you're always going to be irritable. You're always going to be hungry. You're not going to be able to recover from training. You're not going to be able to give it your all because your intensity is just going to be lower. And those are all things that are expected and okay during prep because that's what you're doing. But in the off season, you shouldn't be feeling like that all the time, right? And then the other side of that too, if you get too heavy.
Yes. When
you get too heavy, now at some point, if you are a competitive athlete and you are dieting for a show, you're going to have to diet, and you're more likely to lose muscle mass while you lose body fat if you are really, really heavy, right? Especially if you try to do it really quickly, which a lot of people do also, which is like a fucking nightmare. The only reason I was able to lose so much weight and do it in a pretty consistent way was, one, I took a really, really extended off season with a lot of calories, and then two, I took my time. I wasn't in any rush.
She didn't set a date. She set a time frame. Like around this time I want to compete. Then she reached a place where she went, you know what? If I don't set a date, I'm not going to push through this, because you got to that tough spot.
Well, yeah, no, it gets hard, and then also booking trips.
Yeah, you need that. Yeah.
So I was like, I told myself, okay, at the Olympia, that would be 4 weeks out before the first show I would do, and then once I leave there and I come back, let's see how I look.
And the Olympia trip was pretty full on. We did 3 cities in a short period of time, and so
it was a lot. Olympia was a lot. But I actually ended up looking better, which was a good sign because when you travel, things go either way.
We did strip cardio, which it's not what it sounds like. We got up really early and walked the strip in
which is fabulous,
so
actually.
Really cool, walking in and out of the hotels.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Walking like 5 miles.
Watch our cardio video to hear about cardio.
Yeah, so that was actually a really cool way to get cardio. Like I could see myself prepping in Las Vegas and every morning, be like the old people in the mall, just doing the cardio on the strip. So I think one thing to consider, she had a shorter off season. I'm probably not going to compete again until late 2018. So I'm having a little longer of an off season, but even still, I realize the longer I compete, my stage weight just isn't going to change 4, 5, 6 pounds every time I compete anymore. I've been training for too long. So if I gain a pound or 2 of muscle, I'll be very happy in the next 2 years, which means I don't need to put 30 pounds of body fat on to see that much change in my physique.
There's a time and a place, and you're not that place, you know what I mean?
Right. So I'm much happier staying a little bit leaner. It is a little more work. It does require me to track a little bit more and do a little bit of cardio in the off season. But again, this is our lifestyle. And so if you're going to do a show and you're not going to do a show for another 10 years and you're going to take an extended off season and you want to get fluffy and big and weigh 250 pounds or whatever your goal in your head is, do that. But understand that likely you're going to have to just diet all that body fat off. So I would suggest your body fat for the off season be somewhere in the middle of your starting weight and your stage weight, that you feel good in the gym,
comfortable,
good energy, and you don't feel like a chunky monkey.
The only thing I will say though is, again, because I deal with a lot of, we both deal with a lot of female clients, and I've experienced the repercussions of dieting a lot, and a lot of my clients have also. So there are some times, no matter what you do, that your body will just continue to gain weight. And I have no explanation for it besides, for whatever reason, your body was just like, nope, there's something going on. And like for me, last prep, that's why I was actually kind of happy that I went through all that, like a really long prep. I lost a lot of weight, was because I could show people like, look, it's not just you, I've done this too. And it was honestly just because I competed so much, and I just kind of let my body do whatever, you know what I mean? And I wasn't really worried about the weight.
She said she competed a lot. I mean, 3 straight years, she was doing shows twice a year. So she was pretty much
seasons. It was a lot. It was like 10 shows and
there's a lot of pressure on females to compete year round with.
And there's a lot of pressure to don't blow up, but sometimes, and I have clients who are like, why am I gaining weight? I'm being consistent. Sometimes your body and it just has to go through this period, and the worst thing you can do at that point is to start dieting. I promise, and it sucks, and you just have to go through it. Trust me, I didn't want to go to Australia in a bikini weighing all that weight, but I did, you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, nobody fucking said anything. Nobody cares.
No, we're always our own worst critics. Most people are only concerned about how they look themselves. They're not worried about how you look. So
the only caveat to the maintaining somewhere in the middle is, again, if you've been through some really rough preps and your body is just not responding, I would say just take a step back. Don't even really think about the competition. Don't really think about what's going on. Just kind of say, okay, I'm just going to let things normalize
Yeah.
And then you can always, this is forever if you want it to be. I mean, it doesn't have to be,
Yep.
but you can
If
be
you've
competing.
been through some rough preps, it might be in your best interest for long-term health to sustain a nice off-season.
Yeah.
Having increased calories. You might carry a little bit of body weight, but the next time you diet down, it's going to be a better prep, a better process, because you're doing things a different way. A lot of times, I know Aria has had much success after being really run through the ringer, reverse dieting to the point where I know she was like really dealing with a lot of stress, and now she can maintain a super lean physique, and she does it while eating foods that she enjoys, and she's a much different,
so much different
physique than she used to be, just because she's done things the right way. But I promise you, at one point, she was miserable.
Yeah, but she put in all that time, beforehand, and it's hard, but
it's hard.
You can do it.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in for our off-season body fat video. Hopefully, I know it's tough. We can't give you black and white answers, but I think kind of that middle of the road, maintaining around those numbers, those weights, that body fat percentage that allows you to build and doesn't put you in a position where you're snapping at people, ripping their heads off, and having terrible workouts. Now, again, we just did a video discussing off-season cardio, which kind of plays with this, our thoughts on off-season cardio. So I'll link the video here. Go to Lauren's channel. Please harp on her to do more videos, because she's awesome and she should be doing more videos, and we're going to get her to. So thank you, guys, and have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you at the Arnold Classic.
Yay!
Oh, and don't forget, Lauren Conlon has a seminar February 19th and 20th.
19th.
19th.
No, 18th. Oh, I keep saying the 19th. It's the 18th.
February 18th, Tempe, Arizona, at my buddy Tyler's gym. If you're interested in building the glutes and stage presentation, this is going to be the seminar for you.
We'll link that below.
Yeah, I'll put a link to the flyer and the website below. Check it out, and I'll talk to you guys soon.